Hi everyone, today we're talking about why small eye drops are better. My name's Lee Plowman from Optomly, and we help you boost your practice visibility in your local area. If you're looking to get more new patients, we can help. Reach me at lee@optomly.com.au. Today we're talking about small eye drops, and I'm going to play a short video for you first, and then we'll introduce our guest.
Drops can be up to 5 times too big for your eye to even absorb. And that's why when you put in an eye drop, there's always that little bit that trickles down your cheek. Traditional eye drops create droplets that are 40 to 60 microliters in volume. And with a Nanodropper, you just attach it right on top. It's a universal adapter that reduces the droplet size to 10 microliters. The ideal size drop.
Today I'm excited to introduce you to to Alissa Song. So let me tell you a little bit about her. So Alissa is a serial entrepreneur and investor with a background in clean tech, neuroscience and harm reduction. She spent most of her adult life in Seattle, Washington, and she received dual bachelor degrees with psychology with honours and biology from the University of Washington. After working full-time in a research lab for 3 years, Alissa decided to switch paths and pursue her MD. She's currently a third-year medical student at Mayo Clinic's Alex School of Medicine, and she's conducting glaucoma and oculoplastics research as part of her studies. In addition to her proven track record of fundraising, she's led her team to dozens of business and design awards, including her most recent United States Patent and Trademark Office Collegiate Inventor Medal, awarded by the National Inventors Hall of Fame. And Alissa Song is the CEO of Nanodropper. Welcome, Alissa.
Thank you so much for having me on your platform. Really happy to be here.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us. So tell us, what made you curious in your study of medicine? What made you curious about eye drop sizes and small eye drops?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, previous to Nanodropper and how all of this started, I really didn't have too much exposure to ophthalmology other than my own experiences being an eye drop user myself. And I also wear contacts. But in 2017, there was a ProPublica article that was featured on NPR, and it was titled, "Drug Companies Make Eye Drops Too Big, and You Pay for the Waste." And it turns out that the eye drops that are commercially available can be up to 5 times too big for the capacity of the human eye, which is about 7 to 10 microliters. And this waste really becomes a problem when patients like those using drops for glaucoma are paying hundreds of dollars for their medications. So essentially, they're paying for all of that waste that's being drained down their face. So after finding about this problem, I thought, you know, there must be a solution that can directly help the patient. And that's how we came up with an adapter for eye drop medication bottles.
And it was yourself and your team, and you decided, let's see what we can do to help solve this problem.
Yeah, absolutely. So we got together and we were thinking about how we can circumvent the mess of the healthcare system with so many payers and so many parties that really blur the lines of where do I start in trying to affect change in this system. So by using an adapter, we get to work directly with the patients, and then we soon found out we can work directly with the optometrists and the ophthalmologists who are seeing this problem in their offices every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us, what's the range of eye drop sizes that you've seen on the market today?
Yeah, we've seen everything from even just a single medication made from different manufacturers. We see a range of 30 to 70 microliters in volume.
Wow, that's big drops.
Yeah, especially when Oh, I was just going to add that it's not just the waste that is affecting um, the way that people are able to access their medications, but the extra waste, if it's drained by the tear ducts, actually causes patient harm by increasing the likelihood and the rate of side effects, systemic side effects that the patients are experiencing.
Yeah, so you're building up this. So you've got part of the part of the drop that makes it into the tear film, and the rest. How does that distribute itself? Does that just sit on the lids?
Yeah, so it kind of goes everywhere in essence. But if you've ever put in an eye drop, you put it in, and if you make it in your eye, you still have this excess that comes down your face. So you have the bit that comes down your face, the bit that covers your lid, wets your lash line, and for prostaglandin analogs, of course, all the extra atrophy and the local side effects that it causes. And then, of course, the last part is that with a bigger drop, you have a bigger reaction to it. So you tear more, you blink more, and you drain more. And so it's just as if you're taking these medications by mouth at that point.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that the taste of some medications isn't that great when you when you put it down the
Yeah.
back of your throat. Um,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So as well as so we've got the economic side of it that you're wasting really expensive eye drops. I know
Hmm.
that some eye drops in the US they're up to $500 each. And
Absolutely.
even in Australia, there's some medications that are up towards $100 or more. Um,
Wow.
so we so we've got the economic side and also the side effects as well, but also the how burdensome is it for patients as well for the with the economic side effects of the big drops.
Yeah, so sorry to clarify, you said the economic effects of the side effects that the patients are experiencing?
How's the what's the economic burden of for patients of having the big drops?
Yes. So if the patient is paying, let's say, about $350 for their medications per month, let's say, they run out at the end of the month before, at least in the US, insurance will pay for the next refill and they end up buying it out of pocket. By extending the bottle life with the Nanodropper adapter threefold, we're able to save the patient up to $2,500 per year per prescription.
Wow.
Um, and this is, an enormous cost savings for our patients, especially those that are on fixed incomes. And, when you retirement plan, you don't plan on developing glaucoma and having to add another couple $100 every month in expenses.
Absolutely. Just you think that your guys are going to be fine. Yeah, no one ever budgets for this sort of ongoing cost.
Yeah, exactly. And for chronic diseases like those for glaucoma, it's just a compounding burden that our patients are facing.
Can you think of any? Are there any people who've given you feedback on what the difference that Nanodropper has made for them?
Yeah, so since the coronavirus hit and a lot of the private eye care clinics had to close, um, that in itself was a huge burden on our providers as well. And so we saw an opportunity to be able to help out those clinics by using the nanodropper adapter for their in-clinic droplets. And not only are we getting amazing patient stories about how we really are making these medications affordable for them, but we've heard from providers that in 2 weeks that they first started using the nanodropper, they saw a 66% decrease in the number of in-clinic drops that they had to repurchase. So just even alleviating some of that overhead cost for the small clinics is just wonderful.
Uh,
And
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely. That in clinic, that to get a make a big difference like that is awesome.
yeah, definitely. And when we hear about stories about how patients really were um, their IOPs were at a point where they had to get their first surgery or try this super expensive new brand name medication. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Now we make that a realistic option to try, and that's just everything that we were hoping for.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about in the past. There's been when manufacturers design the drugs and the bottle tips, surely they've gone through lots of different variations. And did they ever create a smaller tip for the bottles?
They did. So, as part of the article that originally inspired the story, they interviewed Dr. Alan Robin, who at that time, I think it was back in the 90s, worked at a pharmaceutical company where they looked at the efficacy and the safety of microdrop volumes. And they had created a dropper bottle that could dispense smaller droplets. But unfortunately, the whole project was scrapped because there was just no reason for the pharmaceutical company to use a more expensive packaging solution because they would have to rebuild their molds from scratch and then sell less medication.
Right. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's like a disrupting the status quo. So
exactly.
yeah, it sounds like they just shelved that idea in the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just really unfortunate. And even with the the lawsuits that are happening in the East Coast, it looks like that it's a case where it's the patients and their care providers against the pharmaceutical companies who are manufacturing these medications. And in the end, the drug companies say it themselves in court that the volume of the droplet is not a medical dosing issue because your eye can only absorb like 7 microliters. But it's just that the container itself doesn't exist right now on the market.
Yeah, for sure. And you've seen some journal articles as well about the drop size and efficacy.
Yeah, so many drug classes have been tested. Notably, they've tested a lot of beta blockers, probably because of the catastrophic systemic side effect that it could have, and land people in the emergency department and in the ICU from cardiac complications. So they did a lot of studies back in the 80s and 90s with beta blockers, and of course, the dilation medications that are used in the office. And it's been shown that the smaller eye drops are either equivalent in efficacy or superior to compared to the larger eye drops, and that was because of the excess tearing and the blinking with the bigger stimuli.
Wow, that's amazing
Yeah.
to get that equal efficacy, if not maybe slightly more because of tearing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this idea is really taking off. And we've met other ophthalmologists who have been trying to create something like this. And we see other competitors on the market really trying to create a market for micro droplet volume delivery devices.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very
Yeah.
exciting to see some of your colleagues and and have them encourage you along the way as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the competition is just that validation that, this is really where we're headed next.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us about Nanodropper and how you came to formulate it and build it from scratch.
So I can show you kind of the end packaging and take it from there.
Yeah.
So this is our end packaging. It's a pretty generic white medical device shelf box. And of course, it has the short side with the label as well so that they stack nicely on the shelf. And inside, you'll find that the Nanodropper comes pre-assembled and pre-sterilized in a nylon pouch. So you just peel back the edges. And again, the fact that it's pre-assembled means that the user never touches the sterile tip when installing the device. So very simple, you replace the original cap with the Nanodropper, and we put ergonomic design into every part of the device so that those with differing dexterities can also install and use the cap. And so it's a pop-off cap instead of like a twist cap for those with arthritis and such. So this is what the tip looks like, and it is elongated so that you can hold the bottle a little bit further from your eye. Great for if you're administering eye drops into someone else's eye as well. And we create this bullseye effect. So you know where to aim instead of having a transparent tip on a white bottle against a white ceiling.
Right.
And we wonder why patients miss their eye all the time. So yeah, we were trying to see what other problems with the administration process we could try and solve when we were talking to the patients about what they really don't like about putting in their eye drops.
That's fantastic. I love that. Dosage and installation tip. You're solving two problems in one there.
Yeah, that's the hope.
Yeah. Does Nanodropper work for all eye drops?
It works for most eye drops on the market. It is a modular design, so it fits many different bottle types. But what we quickly found out is that it's the classic imperial system versus metric. So there is imperial thread sizes and also metric thread sizes. So we have a metric thread adapter coming very soon.
Ah, cool. Okay, fantastic. So, and is there a split? Is it a 50-50 split normally between imperial and metric?
We've actually found more sizes with the imperial size thread. So from the ones that we've tested, we are still able to fit a majority of the bottles out there, but there's still a few that we don't fit.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and for a full list of the compatible bottle types, we have that available on our website. And there's actually a little compatibility card that you can print out and try on your bottle to see if the current one will fit.
Fantastic. And say for clinicians, they're introducing Nanodropper into their practice. Do you recommend showing patients in office how to use it and how to put it on their bottles?
Absolutely. The reason why we want to really partner with the eye care clinics is because we know that this could be an opportunity to intervene and provide some extra education on eye drop installation itself. We've seen videos on how people get very creative in putting in their eye drops, and we think that we can kind of start from scratch, starting from recapping your medication every single time that you open it so that you don't accidentally switch the tops of your medications, down to what is the best way to really steady the hand and make it into the eye. So we kind of see that as an opportunity in clinic to really talk about these things. But of course, we definitely want our clinicians to encourage patients' proper use of the device as well. Talk about the safety, talk about when to throw away the bottle. All of these questions could be answered in clinic. And of course, patients can be referred to our website where we have those materials available as well. And then we have a standard placard that we can send to clinics that are interested, and it comes with a sample Nanodropper with a bottle that the patients can try in office.
Fantastic. That's great to have that demo unit. So what about for patients with, they've got multiple eye drop bottles? How do you go around helping them to remember which bottle is which?
Yeah, that's a great question. We found out that the American Academy of Ophthalmology had a great idea in implementing the color coordination of caps. So you see the yellow for beta blockers, but unfortunately, patients with multiple drops will sometimes leave both of the caps off, and then they'll put the wrong one on top. So now their night and day medication is now only being used at night and vice versa. So we thought, why don't we put the label on both the bottle and the cap so that you can match them together? So we have a series of different colored stickers that are compliant with the colors that the AAO recommends. And so you can match the Nanodropper strip color with the bottle strip so that you know which cap goes with the bottle. And also we have these stickers. I'm not sure if you can see them very well, but we have these sun, moon, and or both stickers. So the patients don't have to try and read the tiny script on the bottle for when they're supposed to put the eye drops in.
Fantastic. It sounds like you're really helping people to get in that the habit and helping them to be more compliant with their glaucoma drops.
Yeah, definitely. We saw that adherence is the number one barrier for seeing great outcomes with medication treatment of glaucoma and other eye disorders. So we want to do everything that we can to try and get patients on a good habit and a good rhythm so that at least it's not the labels that are preventing them and the cost that's preventing them from getting great care.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's awesome. And tell us about what's the current availability of Nanodropper?
Yeah, so it's available on our website at nanodropper.com for US and US territories. We are a Class 1 sterile medical device that's been cleared by the FDA, but that's why we're kind of limited to the US right now. We are available at some of the clinics that are in the US as well, and the list of clinics is on our website. Unfortunately, we're not yet available internationally, but we are working on that to be able to send products to Canada and Australia and New Zealand and so forth.
Fantastic. That'd be great. Well, having that FDA approval, hopefully that can smooth the way for adoption in more countries.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and what's the normal retail price for the Nanodropper at the moment?
Oh yeah, great question. The retail price of the Nanodropper is $14.99. We provide free shipping if you buy a set of 4, which is the annual supply of Nanodroppers. And for clinics and eye care providers, we have a 25% wholesale discount that's available when you become what we call a partner clinic. And discount, but also you'll be featured on our website so that patients can see where the closest clinic where they can pick up their Nanodropper, as well as other perks like the slant back displays and other promotions.
Fantastic. It's great to how you're partnering with eye care clinics and working to get Nanodropper out to more patients.
Yeah, definitely. It's been so rewarding to get that kind of full loop feedback from the patients and their providers. And we're just looking forward to seeing more clinics carry Nanodropper and use them.
Yeah, fantastic. Is there anything else that you'd like to share about Nanodropper?
I think we kind of covered it all, but are there any questions from the live audience that we have?
Yeah, we really appreciate your comments. How can people? Be great to find out how can people reach you and ask more questions about Nanodropper.
Definitely. You can email us directly at info@nanodropper.com. And then you can also fill out the contact us form on our website as well.
Fantastic. And one little piece of news, you recently were awarded a big contract in the US.
Yes, we were. I'm still very much excited about the news, and it still feels like it was just yesterday when we were developing the prototype. But the United States Air Force awarded us a small business innovation and research grant to bring Nanodropper into the bases for the Air Force to serve active military personnel. And our dream really is to get this into the hands of everyone who needs it and could benefit from better outcomes. And the military definitely is not an exception to that, as well as we've always wanted to work with the VA system. So we see that as one step closer to serving our veterans.
That's fantastic. Yeah, it must be tremendous validation for you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. We're definitely excited for the next steps, and yeah, we can't wait.
Yeah, that's well. Congratulations, and I'm sure there's been many conversations, so much research and development, and yeah, commitment from you as well as with all your studies too. So yeah, congratulations on all your hard work.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Alyssa. Really appreciate it. It's fantastic to hear about why small eye drops are better. And we look forward to partnering with you and helping to get Nanodropper out to more patients.
Yes, same. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you everyone for joining in today.
Fantastic. Thanks, Alyssa.
Okay, have a good one.